very warm welcome to all the panelists and the participants who've joined the session and who are watching the session live on our social media platforms. Welcome to yet another insightful NATHEALTH Expert Series. Today's topic of discussion is emerging possibilities in a digitally connected era in a diagnostic space. And our speakers will throw light on how will this space be shaped by the digital footprint expansion as Dr. Alok Ahuja, CEO Dr. Ahuja's Pathology and Imaging Center, progresses the discussion with our eminent speakers. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Momita. And I am absolutely privileged and honored to take on this mantle today. I have probably the three dawns of laboratory medicine across India with me, and I'm really honored to share and introduce them. Sanjeev is here. Sanjeev, well, everybody knows Sanjeev Vashisht. His exploits at SRL, are legendary. But to introduce him formally, he's a senior operations, strategy, and policy professional, and he is a people's man. Sanjeev has managed a wide spectrum of complex businesses from the old economy as well as the new economy. At present, the managing director and CEO of Diagnostics since 2017. Sanjeev has worked at SRL as the CEO and as the Fortis Group for over 6 years. And he's a postgraduate in management, majoring in finance, and also a qualified company secretary. Frankly, Sanjeev, I didn't know this one about you. He's attended academic programs in the top institutions all across the world. And we really look forward. Welcome, Sanjeev, to this session.
Thank you.
I'd also like to introduce Ravi. Ravi is my old Fauji friend. Ravi is a qualified oncopathologist by profession, has 35 years in experience, now the partner and director of DRG Path Labs. He's also the chairman of the Medical Advisory Board of Unipath Specialities in Ahmedabad, chairman of CII Delhi chapter, and the CII Healthcare Committee of Northern India. Too many things. I hope I haven't left anything out, Ravi. But his previous assignments speak for his vast knowledge in not only laboratory medicine, but in the management of laboratories. He's been an advisor with Spice Health and with Onquest Labs, and that Onquest, with Piramal Labs, he's an advisory board manager with Sixtuple. I'm sure I've got that question on digital hematology for you, Ravi. And he's headed PathNet India also. So at Onquest, he put up 36 satellite labs and 1,500 centers. And what I love about his CV is that he's an international inspector for quality audits with CAP. So welcome, Ravi, to this talk. We all look at, getting wiser with your inputs. And last but not the least,
thank you, Alok.
I welcome Deepak Sani. Deepak is the CEO and founder of Healthians, which is now labeled as the health test provider done in such a short time, over 2 million tests. Is that right, Deepak?
Yes, much more.
He's a serial entrepreneur. Deepak has 18 years of experience in the healthcare, marketing, technology, and he follows his passion for building new age diagnostic business at Healthians. In his personal vision to add 10 healthy years to every Indian's life through Healthians. Wow, great effort. His recognitions include Futuristic Face of Healthcare in 2009, Leaders Award for Social Impact. He's had the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Top 25 Healthcare Technology CEOs for Asia in 2020. And he's recently been chosen as 100 most influential entrepreneurs in India by the Entrepreneurs magazine. Wow. So where we are, I have three absolutely brilliant young men here. Young men, yes. They're all young, ready to go. And I'm going to give out some questions, and each one of them to take up the answers one by one, right? So just a minute. I'd like to just share the screen 1 minute here. I'm just trying to share the screen. Let me start with Deepak 1 second. Oh, buddy, come on. Yeah, okay, got it. So, Deepak, I'd like you to take up this question first. With universal internet access in the next 5 to 10 years and smartphones as the interface of the future, a digital experience for customers is akin to building a relationship. How is the industry gearing up and what are the challenges?
Sure, thank you. First of all, obviously, I would like to appreciate that most of the meetings that I starts with a very low energy note. But thanks to you, probably everything is started on a high energy note. So I think we should first all appreciate you, Dr. Lok, for this, so that the energy in the room is already there for us to start. So thanks for giving us a head start. I think if you really look at while we are talking about the entire digital era, I think now a digital experience, which used to be one of the things that every company used to plan, we are now in an era where digital experience has become one of the mandatory things, right? And it has become the part of the overall experience that we offer, because it's not just the digital experience. It's about, like we just said, it's about relationship building. Our digital experience, just to get a little step back, starts basically as small as somebody hitting on your website. But it can go up till all the conversation that they had from your chatbot to your Facebook page, to your social media page, to automated voice bots, and any emails that are you giving back, or any answers and any replies that you're giving them over a social media, all adds to the digital experience. And anything that they're accessing from your company at any point as a communication over their smartphones is all adding to an experience. And today, I think if you really go back into the research, it has been found that you have high-paying consumers which have better digital experiences. You have high retention rates with consumers who have better digital experiences. People are choosing brand over whatever the digital experience. And today we know you probably would have 10, 15, 20 options across the world or within India in start to just order, say, a food online, right? Which was the first industry which exploded also. But you finally chose one or two, and we have two clear winners now, and everybody else has consolidated and merged. What was the key difference? Because the food was coming from the same restaurants, even if you order on an app A or an app B. What was different was the overall digital experience, right? Who gives you the refunds faster, who responds to your email faster, who was always available for you, changed your experience, and that's how the digital experience counts. Now, coming over in the healthcare space now also, consumers are attached to the device, and as we know that they want everything to be doing from that particular device, and the time has gone where they were depending upon going offline to a particular collection center or a clinic and request and check and inquire about a particular package and then decide and come next day and do the test, right? They know today everything is available digitally. They can do price comparisons, they can do service comparisons, they can talk about reviews, they can decide upfront, and they want an easy access to make a booking, which is a starting point for their digital experience. Post that, whatever communication is happening to them is that they have to make an effort for that communication, versus without an effort, the communication is automatically happening with them at each step, and giving them an easy access to request things and get answer about those changes the entire digital experience. So we have seen, probably I have done hospital information systems 10 years back, and I know none of them used to offer a download report kind of a feature 10 years back in India. Today, obviously 95% of them would have, right? But this is with WhatsApp coming in now, the expectation is I don't want to go to your website and even download the report. I need this on my WhatsApp. So the digital experience is completely changing, but there are a lot of people who are still basically asking you to go put in your number, put in a password, download it from there, which people don't want to do. So I would say an experience is also about minimal things, and within the minimal time, how can I achieve more? And that's where the digital experience is moving in. And I think this era is all about how do you service your consumers within the minimum time and minimum effort that they have to make, and how do you give them all the information and platter in one place where they can easily use it, starting from their booking process to getting their reports, to replying, to getting answers, to making payments, to getting refunds, to making booking again, to getting reminders also today, right? Everything has to be on one of those devices. And initially we used to tell people to download this app or that app and all, but now they also want that, are you available where I am, right? And that is what we have seen. The communication changed from first from Orkut to maybe a Facebook, and today it's towards an Instagram. So it is an ever changing and evolving thing. The companies would have to probably tune themselves towards those technologies, which is more user friendly and more friendly towards the consumer. So that's where we are heading forward to. And I think it's a great era, a great opportunity for all of us to upgrade ourselves.
Thank you, Deepak. Sanjeev, would you like to add something to this?
I think he's bang on. I think Deepak has made some very, very valid observations. Idea is to give the comfort to the customers to the extent possible. Nobody is willing to walk even 5 kilometers for their healthcare requirements. So we have to be there where the masses are. Gone are the days when people would travel, miles together to get their, diagnosis done or even get the healthcare. So we say, instead of ferrying the samples from point A to B, let the samples go, let the lab go to where the people are. And so much so that they want the tests to be, or the samples to be taken at the comfort of in the comfort of their bedroom. So, I mean, we are towards that era where we're moving towards that era where, and probably, I guess, India is one of the very, very few countries which has done wonderfully well. And thanks to the spirit of, entrepreneurship, and we have a live example in the form of Deepak, who has done a splendid work. So yeah, I'm completely with him. Whatever he says is absolutely right.
Ravi, would you like to add something?
You're on mute, Ravi.
I'd like to add one point. First, what Deepak said, high on energy. I like to say, like Deepak, probably you are the one who got the energy into the industry. I think,
Thank you.
Actually, you make sure that we are always on the energy level. And I think that's where I think we are keeping high most of the time. Because I think a lot of credit goes to you. Well, that is something what rightly said, that today there is an era of, patient, everybody, the healthcare going to the patient doorstep. And this is what wherever want. Actually, I have seen the utility of this. I've actually seen, I'm sure Sanjeev or Deepak or you also will agree, we have seen some senior people utilizing it best of the time. Wherever they are, there have been examples, there have been calls from me, oh, sir, early morning I go for 5:30 to walk in the Lodi garden. Can you send somebody to collect sample right there? Because I think that kind of request, because they have half an hour and that time of point of eye, they are like walk, come back and do the work. So the best utilization of time and the home care, near patient care. This is something. Now, second important part is like, I'll add here is the customer today is not willing to wait. Because I think this is a siege because technology is bringing up. If they give you a call, you don't respond in 5 minutes, there are 5 more people lined up and you miss the boat. I think that's the era. Now they're talking to you and they want to get instant response. Otherwise, but you call back in 15 minutes, they say, sorry, sir, we waited. Somebody else, we already booked the test. I think that advantage patients are utilizing, and that is, I think they are the king today, and we have to change to their need. And that's what technology and digital technology is helping out. App, board, social media, wherever they are, what Deepak is saying right on. Every possible phase they're trying to work and approach us, and we have to be alert, and they're keeping us, absolutely on the feet around the clock, working towards and highly energized in any case.
So, Alok, just to add one more small point here, you see, it's not something which is, we take it as a compulsion, but the whole point is it's actually become a compulsion because look at various, whether you look at the infrastructure, the number of people we have, the manpower we have in our country, there's a dearth of manpower, there's dearth of infrastructure, whether it's social infrastructure or health infrastructure. So it's not out of choice, it's out of compulsion that we'll have to get into the digital mode now. And if you have to make the services accessible to the people, a lot of hyperbole is created around accessibility, affordability. I mean, we know the paying proclivity in our country, so we have to make it affordable. And digital, medium can really help us big time.
So that goes on to our next question in more detail. Sorry.
Although just one sentence that I hear, what Sanjeev said, just like, let's not, I think important to notice right from the start, don't implement technology for the sake of technology's sake. It's don't make use of excellent technology. It's a make excellent use of technology. I think that's something we're talking about.
Right. So here we are for the next question to you, Ravi, and maybe you can expand on this. Home care, transportation, logistics are going to be revolutionized in the digital world. You see, these industries are also going to change, how is it going to impact our diagnostic industry?
Yes, I think this is something which is a sea change has happened, and last 3 years during the COVID, I think it's actually aggravation has happened. Now, I'm saying most of us will agree. Most of the centers earlier, we were used to seeing the patient face, talking to them, discussing reports with them, especially in the bigger cities or tier 1 cities, even tier 2 cities. I think patients do not want to come to the centers. They just want everything at their doorstep. Now, that is something from pathology point of view. They just want, like, give a call or whatever message or app or whatever it is to us, collect the sample, and they want to report right there. So that is like, not only the right booking, selection of tests, the payment modalities, receiving the report, having customer queries, everything is getting the making use of technologies. Of course, there is a human touch will always remain. Now, on the other side, on the clinical front side, a lot of home care is happening today. Patients are, you have companies who can set up ICUs at home. We have companies setting up minor surgeries at home, or a long-term chronic patient, old age home, or long stay kind of homes are after surgery they go back and stay. That's really home care. That's really a lot of things have come up, and I think that's the boost to our the healthcare infrastructure where the beds are much lesser. Probably this is an additional thing. We can have acute tertiary care beds can be used for the acute care. Now, this is something which is very, and how do we make sure that this is integrated? And that's where is important when it comes to the diagnostic, because tests are happening, chronic monitoring is happening. So patients want everything on the doorstep, sample be picked up, it's quality, a barcode to be done there, machines are taken there, bookings are paid there, point of care test may be done there. That is quality control, centrally monitored also from there. Reports authenticated, I don't know, all these processes already now part of technology. They want to be assured of it. Whatever is happening, like it is under control and command of somebody. It's not like working in isolation. We can't work in like, somebody goes and pick up the sample. No. Today, there's a right sample collected from the door step. It's probably the right right test, right order of draw, barcoding, labeling, everything is happening. It is under virtually, and then temperature, data loggers, temperature monitoring during the transportation. And how do you track your sample? I think this is something which is, I know this is my courier guy or collection boy is taken, the sample is reached in the lab. What stage, where it is. They are very well aware, and these kind of technologies help us, not only the lab, but not only the customer, but helps us also to track our guys, our people, sample conditions, samples quality. And this is where I think the very, very important part, because now, otherwise, we never knew how the logistics were happening in between. We were testing at the point A, point B. In between point A and B, we're not aware of it. Technology is right there. We can actually live track the temperature. There are loggers, and we can have improve the quality and service and timely reporting. I think this is, because many of the time reports are missed. Now, alerts are being sent. Moment that it is authenticated, alert goes to various people, with not to the doctors. If the critical, it goes to the clinicians also, and immediate actions can be taken. So all this.
Thank you, Ravi.
This worked out very well.
Thank you, Ravi. I see drones coming in now on logistics, good logistic companies reaching out in the rural area. We see efforts on home collections, and Deepak can say kahin bhi, kahan bhi. So we love that activity that's happening, But how do you think the rest of the Sanjeev or Deepak, would you have some inputs now that you guys are pioneers in this? how are other logistic companies helping you transport samples from, godforsaken Timbuktu to central labs? How are you planning point of care in village and rural areas? Is there some light you can shed on that?
So see, look, it's not an easy task. First of all, I mean, let me just tell you that idea is to be closer to the masses with the labs. I understand everybody talks about ROCs, ROIs, why this industry is lucrative is because, with minimal investment, you can perhaps, get higher returns. But the whole point is now the scenario is changing. People are getting more and more discerning, more and more demanding. So if you are creating labs closer to them, first of all, you are doing away with the problem which you faced perennially earlier of the samples integrity getting lost. Yes. So one is that the travel time should be kept to the minimum. This is what my take is. While drones and all are good, but the fact of the matter remains, are you using the right kind of packaging material? Are you putting the temperature loggers inside that? Are you monitoring the data live? Are you ensuring that the rider who's picking the sample from point A and bringing it to point B, which just happens to be a lab, at what time he's picked the sample, what time he's delivered the sample for accessioning? So all those things, keeping all that into mind, I think it's very important that you should be closer to the masses, one. So what our claim to fame is little bit that we are trying to ferry the sample from the collection center to the closest lab within 3 hours time. This is what our endeavor is. We are succeeding in whichever geographies we are, but yes, it's a tall order. It's not going to be an easy thing. On top of that, you're right. I think you have to have a very, very judicious mix of phlebotomist, rider, couriers, and everybody else. And you have to work in sync with multiple agencies. And I'm sure my friend, Deepak will further throw some light on that. So I'll stop at this.
Deepak,
sure. I think, see, logistic as a market is disrupting everywhere, from truck logistics to everything, right? Because of the technology, you would probably see large companies have been built world over on the logistics side. I can tell you my example. When I entered this space, I spoke to every damn logistic company who was doing sample collection and bringing sample from one city to another and checked on them that, can you guarantee me 2 to 8 degrees when it reaches here? And I can tell you none of them does it. None of them was able to give me what I wanted.
That's right.
And it's not possible, right? So there was a disruption to happen, and that disruption is happening. And something like what Sanjeev is saying, they have taken this in their own hands. Taking labs closer to people was another idea. Drones are good to say, but if it is not maintaining the temperature, drone does not help at all, right? So it can just travel faster, but you need to actually, so packaging material, quality of packaging material is the most essential thing which people did not think about, but now they are thinking. There is no reverse logistics in our game. If you want a better control on the temperature, the only solution to this, which we found out, was a reverse logistics. I had to have a container which should not be thrown away, and it has to be reversed back so that it comes back to me and it gives me 2 to 8 degrees. None of the thermocol boxes give me 2 to 8 degrees. So all of this probably was achievable because there is now a data logger. So when you deliver me a sample, it can be 2 to 8. But was it 2 to 8 all the time? That logger tells you. And now because there is a logger, you get to know that it's not been maintained and you have been able to change on that. So there's a lot more disruption. But all these industries have actually taught us, and we are learning from that spaces and trying to implement that in logistics now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alok, I'll add in one point here.
To the next question.
Yeah, Alok, I'll add on one point on the data logger. I'll add on.
Please.
Because what he's saying also, like, I like transporting very high critical samples like oncology, bone marrow. They're very, very one-time sample. They're not like
especially, yes.
In addition to the data logger, we used to put some kind of temperature sensitive temperatures and it strips inside this thing. So whenever the temperature goes out, immediately this kind of a thing. Otherwise, the sample en route was starting point, end point is okay, but what happened in between, it's right there. And those are critical samples. Slightest error can lead to amplification and the molecular testing go haywire. That's something which is also now being happening.
Okay, let's move ahead to another aspect of. Can you guys see this? Yeah, okay. See, digitalization in the Indian context, okay. Of course, in India, Aadhaar could become a game changer for our digital records, digital management. How can the industry tap the potential in achieving health for all of delivery of diagnostic services Do you think Aadhaar is one way that we can use it, or there are other ways that we can involve ourselves not only in the urban space, not only in the business space, but in achieving health for all? That's my question.
Yeah. So, Alok, sorry, I'd lost you guys for a few seconds.
Yes,
but now I think
this was for you. So, can I should I repeat it again?
Yeah, please do that. Yeah, please do that.
Okay, I'll just do that. See, digitalization in the Indian context, Sanjeev. In India, Aadhaar could become a game changer. And, not only for reaching out to rural India, but also to tap the potential in achieving health for all and in the rural masses. And data mining. So what are your views on that? And do you think we can, the industry is looking at it to move ahead? Have we lost Sanjeev? Hello?
We have lost him in between, but he's there.
Yeah, I think he'll come back.
Let's wait.
Well, you can start on this. Deepak, would you like to share some opinions on this?
Yeah, sure.
The Aadhaar and the digitalization.
Yeah, so I think, there is a further extension of Aadhaar in the health scenario, which we basically are calling about health IDs, right? Which is a sub-version of Aadhaar in a way for depositing of health records together. This is something which is gonna basically.
I think Sanjeev is back.
Yeah, so
Sanjeev is back.
Some problem with the connectivity, it seems.
Doesn't matter. Welcome back.
Yeah. So as I understand, what you're asking me is basically what are the other applications of data analytics, and that's the diagnostics industry needs to be aware about. Is that what?
Right. And do you think we can use Aadhaar as a modus operandi to reach the rurals in India?
Absolutely. See, you have to have one unique identification which can be loaded for every purpose. And there are multiple, I see, there are, multiple ways in which you can use the, data analytics as far as, healthcare is concerned. The first thing first, I would talk about the customer relationship management. Now, to any company which has a scale and the size, I think your aim is to ensure that the customer is sticky to you, it sticks to you. And what we really need to do is, whether through the social media or other means or WhatsApp, I think Deepak mentioned initially that, you have to, engage with the customers through WhatsApp and all that thing. And not only that, you sift the data, do the data mining and find out the chronic condition in certain patients. If the values are going a little haywire or these are deranged, and that, thyroid test, for instance, somebody's got thyroid, he needs to be or she needs to be, touched base upon in, let's say, 3 months time or 6 months time. So you touch base on your own with them. Look, you had come to the lab on so-and-so date, or you got given your sample so-and-so date. Now the time has come for you to. So one is the customer relationship management, which is very important. Secondly, if you talk about histopathology, you understand being more better than I do. So, what we started doing was coding the, specimens. Now you try to create the repertoire of these slides or the specimens in a manner that tomorrow, if you have to take a recourse on these, just to understand whether for the purpose of teaching the new doctors who are joining us, or just to take a cue from what has happened earlier, you can create this repertoire, code the sample, retrieve the data, analyze it, and maybe match with the results which you are now want to share in the report. So that can give you a very good 360-degree holistic thing, as far as the reporting is concerned.
Yeah.
Third is genomic analysis. A lot has been spoken and written about, mutations and the predictability, these predictive markers. There are multiple sports gene. We talk about actin 3 gene or something, which has got the proclivity to tell you whether if the child could become probably a player who will be good in endurance games or bust games which require immediate, power and all. So all those things are available, and we know genetics has got huge salience in that sense. Further, I think imaging, we know for almost like a decade or more than that, I think the kind of data analysis which is done, we create algorithms, we decipher something which is mundane and keep the technology to really come to our aid, because we understand radiologists are very few or pathologists are very few as opposed to the number of reports which are churning out. So can we use the data or the AI to, kind of segregate the routine from the ones where you require doctor's attention? So that has been happening.
Right.
From nowadays, I think what we have also started doing, many companies are doing it now, is when a doctor is sending a prescription, we try to capture the prescription and see the trend of the test which is being, sought by the doctor or, prescribed by the doctor. Now, can we go up to the doctor and tell him, sir, this within this category which you are, suggesting or prescribing, these are new tests or new technology which is now available. How open are you to really, write these tests also for the patients? Because we know that the TAT will improve, it will be more affordable, and then obviously the results are far better in the new thing. Then, capturing the conditions, the symptoms, etc. Multiple things are happening. I remember that, if you have the data of a patient where that certain modality will not work for him, then you can certainly, if you have the data, you can suggest some different modality to that person. If you take my case, my TMT always comes false positive. So whichever hospital I go to, if they have got my data with them, they'll say, no, sorry, do either stress echo or do the stress thallium test. So we know that, these are things which are huge potential. Similarly, drawing the correlation between the two tests. We talk about, whether it is serum TTG levels and celiac, there's a correlation between the two. If you have the right kind of data,
yes.
right? HPV and LBC correlation is quite common thing which we are doing. Then apart from that, on the inventory management side, you can really use technology to the hilt. Logistics side, we spoke about the riders app or, the temperature loggers and all. So I think the potential is enormous. Possibilities are unending. I think a lot could be done on this side.
Great. Deepak, would you like to add something?
Yeah, just an addition, like Sanjeev has already covered it. So I think, yes, a lot of use cases specifically, I will talk specifically on the diagnostic side. And I think all of us would also, I will just pick one problem, that a lot of report delays happens because there is a critical value and we need to speak to the patient. And we need to find out, is it really the historical thing or not? Now, this is a data that is already available with a lot of other labs, a lot of hospitals, and patient does not have to give it again and again, right? A chronic kidney disease patient is a chronic kidney disease patient with creatinine of 3+, can always have it. But each time our report is getting stuck because of that. So the power of obviously having it together and the data is extensive. And specifically, like you talked about rural India specifically, I think these guys, there are a lot of camps happening. Every month, somebody is going and doing those camps. Somebody is checking diabetes, somebody is checking something, but the data is not coming, right? And another person goes, he does another thing. So if this data is getting collected, overall, you can probably get to a public health level of that particular village or particular town or a rural India. And rather than doing a repetition of a test, you can only do the data play there. So
I totally agree with you. I like that. I like what you said, Deepak. It really makes sense. And I like Mr. Modi has been, our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi has been trying to talk about digitalization of records. Yeah. And I wonder if the industry and you guys being the leaders can interact with the ministry and see whether we can do some diagnostic records. Yes, Ravi, please.
I'll add on to what you rightly said. It'll bang on the absolutely hitting right there. So this is actually a part of National Digital Health Mission to have a unique health ID. In fact, this is all started by our Honorable Prime Minister, and I was part of the project team. For 2 years, we worked, especially on the diagnostic side, how to put that kind of a thing together to all the labs to probably integrate the data into one system. I think it's a novel idea, but there's an enormous challenge in the problems out there. Because one of the simplest problems was no two labs are using the same nomenclature for the same test. My CBC and their CBC
we are same thing.
There are a lot of assay structures are there. But yes, then how do you integrate it? Number one, we start a Loyens code was taken off. Every lab will adopt a Loyens code, standard nomenclature. So this is a long task. I think as an industry, all of us are supposed to be doing this. But also important is how do you ensure the quality of A lab and B lab and C lab and D lab? Are they, how do you do that? Maybe at some lab which is remote, we have no idea. Maybe sugar was absolutely abnormal, and to my mind, it's normal. Or because if we go back 3 years back, oh, this person had high diabetes because he was followed by some lab. We have no idea. Today is not. The wrong decision might be taken. So it's a bigger challenge, but it's a responsibility of all of us. A great idea, which should be done. I think we should all be working together.
I really hope that, you guys as leaders can start thinking, and NATHEALTH as a centralized place can start involving in the digital health mission. Maybe, like he said, SNOMED code and ILC code, everybody's histopathology is being coded in a different way. We've got to find some, the government has to come up with criterion to really get DHM on shape. Anyway, I'll go on to the next topic.
I think this is if you do, this program exists now, and I think a couple of our leading labs have already enrolled into it. And I'm sure if National Digital Health Mission has a solution for it, because that's already been done. Now it's up to us to adopt that practice, and we're finding a lot of challenges. I think I'm sure when the Ayushman Bharat payment and linking to attach to it, gradually we'll be there. Right?
Yeah. Good. So I go on to the next question here. This is, sorry. Well, while we are thinking of customers, we need to also think of our own healthcare workers working in the periphery, working in, you want to open 50 labs. So AI in diagnostics has been used very well in hematology. I know that you've been, Ravi, as a boss in Sigtuple, which is an Indian startup out of Bangalore doing a lot of good digital hematology. We've seen histopathology, and the Lina assistant has been excellent with the lymph node biopsies. There are other AI softwares which have been experimented with. So what does the future hold for support of healthcare personnel? And how will it help us in reducing lab errors and streamlining our work?
I think I am all for AI, but I have not called it artificial intelligence. I always say it is augmented intelligence. That is something which is first and foremost.
Right.
I think without pathologists, it's very difficult to survive. Wherever we are, we may be in a remote part. I think they have to work together. Otherwise, this is not going to work. Come what may. That's how the healthcare it is. There is a human touch. They say, the touch screen can help, but the human touch can heal. I think this is exactly what we are here for. I think, yes, AI is now coming back to the same digital pathology, histopathology and hematopathology. Histopathology is actually playing a very, very big role where the diagnosis, because it's also, especially in the biopsies, we have second opinion. And I'm sure almost all oncology cases, they always go for a second opinion. That's the standard protocol, had one more opinion from somewhere else. Now, that's one part. Many a time, there's a reports like there are only about 15,000 active pathologists versus, so many 2 lakhs plus lab, and only, I think, very few labs are doing histopathology. There's shortage of people. In the government sector, in many of these smaller colleges, report take 3 weeks to come, and we don't know by the time what would happen. Now, then there's an era of super specialization. Today, we have neuropathologists, uropathologists, nephropathologists, gastropathologists, and this has already happened in the West. No biopsies are reported by one person. There are 2 people or 3 people reporting in one point of time. But in India, skill shortage, viability, economy doesn't really allow us to do this. Now, that's where I think digital pathology plays a very, very important role. There's a primary pathologist doing this thing. Now we have whole slide scanners. At one point of time, scanners were costing huge amount, 1.5 CR, 2 CR. They have been brought down to almost minuscule values. So that's in histopathology. I think we can do this, not only sitting here, scan, take a one opinion, second opinion of the topmost countries, specialized pathologists, and in the international opinion can be taken right here. So probably that's a bigger role of it. Now, after that, in same thing in hematology, where technicians, rural area, what you mentioned about, there are no pathologists, but slides have to be seen and augmented. So probably the technicians who aptly does, system picks up the images, probably creates some AI. Now that's a module, whether you talk about Siktapol or many other thing, kind of thing, they have where they come out with some kind of an indicative kind of a thing to you. And it's up to us,
Right.
pathology, wherever we are, give a diagnosis and clear a report and authenticate it. But the challenge right here is probably our accreditation bodies, our medical council bodies,
Right.
they don't permit this. They
Right.
say this is something which is physical presence is mandatory.
That's
I
exactly
probably
what I
feel
want to say.
somewhere it
You're
is right. But I think the bigger I have to be, actually, we should, as industry, quote an example, like it happens in the NABH hospital. Teleradiology report are acceptable. Why not telepathology? I think somewhere we need to talk about it. And I think we have been talking about as the industry, we should take this. And it's a long battle. And I'm sure, but provided there's no question on the quality, there have to be a proper protocol, SOPs, and every touch point, there is a second course available out there. Now that's what we talked about. And now
Thank you,
also
Ravi.
last one more I'll look at on this.
Yeah, please.
Now, based on the AI, now what second point you talk about, this LINA, that's, lymph node kind of a thing, assistant for a breast cancer they're talking about. So where now today we have, especially for, say, breast cancer, ER, PR, HER2, there's algorithm. You have an algorithm, you scan the slide, it gives you this thing. So preliminary screenings can be done by utilizing these kind of things. So AI can create algorithm, pathologist does. So it helps the pathologist to come out with a better diagnosis, increases his productivity, and he miss out something, maybe the checklist of 100. Because all come what may, histopathology is a biopsy or subjective, he may miss out 1 or 2 points. Moment something is missing, it's alert before we report, this point has been missed, please add on. So this is going to be a big tool.
Absolutely.
Especially in the cervical cancer, pap smear screening, which is really not happening in the rural areas because that's where it's a part of national program, lack of people. So reportings are happening 1.5 months later. Same in malaria parasite to be detected on the slides. A lot of things kind of thing. I think this AI will help. It's going to help in any case.
Thank you. And, my idea, Ravi, is to bring awareness on this.
Yeah.
There are two aspects of this. At PGI, they used to have screeners to do PAP because they had 500 PAPs a day. And so there was somebody who would first screen and the next level, the pathologist would come in. But then from the pathologist level, as we are planning to open more labs and take labs down to the people, we need AI support for the people who are working there. And if we can give them AI support, what we can do is you have a lab, a centralized lab in Delhi and a lab maybe in Bihar. And you want that guy who's looking at the slide, he needs a second opinion. The AI will help him get a second opinion. So rules in telepathology need to be leveraged with accrediting agencies and with the MCI. These are issues that are live and important today. I think NATHEALTH, all of us should combine together to take them on.
I think, I think if you were there, if you were there, yes, we had a NATHEALTH Diagnostic Forum meeting, and this point was actually being raised. And we are actually, I'm sure all of us have to join together. Industry has to come forward and push it hard.
Absolutely. Great. Sanjeev, would you have a word on this?
I think very quickly, I think Dr. Ravi God has made a very, very valid point. The only thing is, I think now the time has come where we need to collaborate as service providers. So that is not happening enough. I don't know, for whatever reason, I guess, everybody's trying to, dig their own well or trying to reinvent the wheel every time. Perhaps we have to take a cue from telecom sector. When optical fiber cable had just come in, everybody started digging their own trench and laying the cable. And that cable, which is 36 pair cable, used to be good to last for 50, 60 years of data requirement and voice requirement. Then it dawned upon them, how can we use this infrastructure? So if I have a network in certain state, the other service provider can use my infrastructure by paying me a cross-connect charge. So something of that sort should come, because there'll not be, as I said, while until now we had good ROCs, ROIs coming from this business, time is going to be different going forward, because it will become more and more capital intensive. So where you can save the capital and put the money where the mouth is. So my thing is that collaboration is the key, and NATHEALTH can really play a phenomenal role there. Fortunately for us, I think in the organized sector, we understand each other very well, and we respect each other very well. Probably it's the easy bit, just that some efforts have to be made collectively for the general good.
Golden words, Sanjeev, golden words. Thank you. We really like this positive acceptance. And I think this is the way that industry has to move ahead. You cannot go single and mind, ye mera aur ye tera yaar. I think time has come here.
Yeah, that's the only way we can make it affordable and accessible to all. Otherwise,
absolutely.
Everybody will have his own costs.
Okay, so while we go on to this, and we've had few views from other people, I think I'll skip this question. Most of it, this one is for Deepak, right? Deepak, you know, you have supercomputers and AI-driven Babylon Health. You have Molly, the AI nurse, have had mixed responses in the UK. How do you see robotics and AI vis-a-vis the human touch? How would you like to comment on this, Deepak?
Yeah, I think this is the question being asked the day the AI has come into the picture, largely because I come from a technology background. So people used to ask, do you think AI will replace doctors? And I always used to say it is not possible. It can only empower. It can only assist. It cannot replace. So a lot of people see as, because we have to also see AI is not overnight. It basically have its own engine of learning. An engine of learning depends upon how much data do you infuse in and how much variety of data do you infuse in for an AI to learn. For me, an AI does not prepare to be accurate as it's accurate in the other world, in a Western world. It takes 8 to 10 years for an AI to prepare and learn from a machine and then give an accurate answer, right? So AI definitely, if you really look at, will always assist and empower. But for assistance and empowerment also, having a trust from a doctor on an AI is far away till the time it gets to that accuracy. And we have real examples like you've just taken, wherein AI has been proven to be better, but it has always assisted. So we always talk something about called a physician fatigue, right? Or maybe a decision-making delay. So usually when we go to a doctor, there is obviously an element that he looks at, and probably he's speaking to so many patients at the same day. He has a limited mind. He takes up a particular step. He might be delayed in making a diagnosis of a particular patient because of just the fatigue, right? You can probably overcome this with any AI, specifically when we talk about any cancer cases and everything, because they have all the data, past history records, everything. They have records of other patients who have gone through it, can predict much faster than the doctor that this could be a possible case. But when it comes to a human touch, then obviously AI fails, right? And there was a survey done in US, and I can tell you, it has been asked to people that who would you like to get an advice from, telling them clearly that computer is more accurate than the doctor. They chose doctor, right? That's where the human touch comes in, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The soft speaking phlebotomist who will soothe your nerves and make you comfortable, talk to you for a minute before he puts that needle and shows you the prick is never going to change. It's never going to change.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day, how much is it about outcomes and how much it is about humans? At the same time, healing is not only about technical data. Healing also adds something. So
absolutely,
I always give more credit to human touch and experience than AI.
And you know, your words are so heartening and they're so warming, because we know the industry is good with the right people and will go the right way. But I'd like to take you guys through as we are closing up fast. So I'll take you through a lovely, autoimmunity, a chronic disease. And I came across this in an autoimmunity journal. I will just share that screen with you. It's not only about us partnering with patients, but it's time that we start partnering with doctors and patients in their disease process, which is chronic. I saw a lovely presentation, and I'd like to share that with you guys and take your views on this. Yeah. This is from Hugo Berger from Autoimmunity Reviews. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So here he talks about first symptoms and the diagnosis, where electronic symptom tracking, online self-pre-diagnosis, electronic referral, computer-assisted diagnosis, and chatbots. Then he comes to the treatment part, where he's talking of digital pharmacy, drug interaction, AI assistance, and drug delivery with smart packaging. Then the patient gets a flare. At-home hospital, targeted reminders, and digital therapeutics go on to trials and monitoring with smart alerts, wearables, and connected devices. So do you think our diagnostic industry is ready or is preparing itself to work with doctors who are giving home care? And do you think we can create such scenarios for doctors to join us and we can monitor it for them? Question for everybody, please.
Yeah, I think that's right. Sanjeev, yeah, okay, you want to say something?
So see, I think my sense is that this is quite aspirational and the right thing to do, we all know it. But I think in our own kind of, mindset, not even, I mean, we are all for it, yet, we are so involved in our own little things, doing little things, that somehow the big picture always, takes a back seat. So I think we need to now work on this, no doubt about it. I think this, of course, is something which is very, very, the nut bolt of it is very nicely depicted, but I'll tell you very, very, on a macro basis, I think integrated healthcare is something we should be looking at from A to Z. Now, we had the good fortune of inviting once, Kaiser Permanente's chairman and their whole entourage, the senior officers, that I was running another company. And these guys were with us for about a couple of days. And what we learned is that they've created an amazing integrated healthcare system, where right from the insurance to pharmacy to diagnostics to 57 hospitals they have. So ultimate aim is what? It's not about selling a test. It's not about running a hospital. It's about keeping a person healthy. Yes. Now, how do you do it? Second, I think the first thing first, what they say is that, look, let's create an ecosystem where the people, they pay the insurance. And the premium will get determined by how much burden they bring to the exchequer or to that system. So if a person is sick, obviously land in a hospital. And if very sick, then obviously in the critical care department. And then obviously the bills are going to swell. As opposed to that, if we are doing something on the preventive health check side, they are running, they're doing the morning exercises, whatnot, then perhaps the premium will always obviously come down, but perhaps they'll not never land into the hospital. Preventive health check is something which has to be done. So all I'm saying is that, while everybody has to work like a well-oiled machinery, there's so many parts in automobile and they run in perfect sync with each other. We are far from it as a country. The mindset has to change. There has to be that, we have to, rise above our own little cocoons and, companies that we are running. And, but this is what I feel is something which is utopian. I mean, if you really ask me, maybe in certain countries it's happening, because I am very certain if everybody works collectively, then it will save loads and loads of monies to the exchequer also and to the government sector. So I think there's not much of time left, but I could have given you an analogy. Time permitting, I'll maybe allude to this point once again. And meanwhile, I think that Ravi and Deepak can also.
Ravi, would you like to add?
Yeah. I think I'd like to just very nicely. I think first and foremost, what I 100% agree with Sanjeev, integrated diagnostics is going to be answer healthcare, not even diagnostics. Unless firstly, all diagnostic has to be integrated first. Of course, it has to integrate with the healthcare delivery people, the clinician kind of a thing. And that will have, lot of, because today many factors contribute to the diagnostic errors for that matter. Because there is no involvement there are multiple specialists. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't know what one has said, what is fourth has said. Then there are problems with collaboration and communication to each other, with the patient, their families and clinicians and history. We have no data. The lack of infrastructure to support a diagnostic process and adequate attention to understanding the health problem. I think this is something integration is definitely, but I think first and foremost, we probably can work it out is something what we call a health risk assessment of an individual. Because that risk assessment, if we can do, instead of giving a one value of a cholesterol, probably I give score of multiple factors, whether your family history, your lifestyle, what you eat, your genomics, put together a score. Now, if 10 people have the same reports, same values, all but other parameters can vary. So the risk assessment score will vary, and this is will determine the burden of the healthcare. What are the next step? So integration is the foremost and most important part. I like to put one data again. What we talked about AI here before, like we have seen there is a study which says that in acute care, an estimated 45% of lab tests is underutilized. That what I mean is this. Means when one or more tests should have been undertaken but were not taken. But 21% are overutilized because those tests were not required, they were taken. So I think if we had an integrated approach, probably we could have arrived at the right ethical prescription for the diagnostics and a better outcome of it. So in Australia, they follow a method of they have done this, what we're talking about already. There's something called STOP practice. That means the sensible test ordering practice based on the AIN symptoms and the previous history integrating together. So unless you have it integrating together, I think we need to, as a diagnostic provider, I'll say, be more of a clinical solution provider, join hands with the clinical team. On the other side, join hands with the physicians and the patient. Come in front of the microscope. Microscope is already automated and digitalized. That's what I want to add.
So as we wind up, thank you very much, everyone, for this sparing your time to be with NATHEALTH. And the message we take back is, as leaders in the industry needs to collaborate, meet more often, discuss, and plan not only for its own self, but or our little businesses that we run, but for the health for all and a general good for the people. And I think this platform, NATHEALTH, is already successful in having 3 of the top leaders in the industry sharing their thoughts and trying to find common grounds to collaborate on. Thank you, everyone, for your sparing your time, and cheers, NATHEALTH.
Would like to thank all the participants who joined the session, and thank you very much, my eminent panelists. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeev, Dr. Ravi, Mr. Deepak, and Dr. Alok. Thanks a lot from the entire NATHEALTH team. Would like to thank our PR team, Avian, and our comms partner, HealthBiz, for their constant support. My special thanks to Anvesha and Siddharth for their immense support that we received throughout. In case we are unable to answer any questions today, and we would want them to be emailed to us, and we'll try and get them answered by our speakers. We'll again be back with another set of panelists throwing light on some other aspects and other panel. We will be posting this video of the session on our Facebook and YouTube channel for you all to like and share it amongst your community, and don't forget to subscribe. With this, would like to end today's session, and we promise to come back with another interesting session soon. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks a lot for your time.